Okay, so some kid creates some video, he puts it up on YouTube, it gets 5 million hits, and then some director, producer guy approaches him and says, we want to turn this into a movie, sci-fi movie. So now he's going to make a sci-fi movie. Yay! Good for him.
He's got a $30 million budget.
Yeah.
Okay,
Movies are expensive.
No,
That's usually what happens.
You're nuts. A kid in Uruguay puts up a YouTube clip, and then he gets $30 million? I mean, he's not going to get the pocket the $30 million, but
it's not just a YouTube clip, though. I mean, he put it up on YouTube, but this is some awesome stuff. Like, it wasn't surprising to me.
But it wasn't anywhere. It wasn't any film festival. It's not a long movie. It's just a couple of minutes, something that he put together. He did it in his, with his own resources.
Right.
The reason why the story is amazing and why I think you're wrong about it is because it gives everyone hope. This kid is the Barack Obama of filmmakers. Okay? All of a sudden, nothing is impossible. I mean, if you're now sitting in Botswana or in Thailand or in Moldova and you think, hey, maybe I could put something like this together, and all of a sudden I turn into a director or a producer of a $30 million movie and I'm off and running. That's an awesome, inspirational story.
Yeah, it's cool. I'm inspired. It's great.
Apparently not.
No, I mean, it's awesome. It's great, but I don't know.
All right, and I'll tell you one last thing. The other angle to this story is, of course, I'm totally bitter. Jesus sent it to me first, and I don't know if Jesus was bitter about it too, but that's the sense I got. Look, the kid got 5 million hits. That's fantastic, especially for a single video. We got 180 million views. Where's our $30 million project?
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, I know it doesn't work that way, but still. Yeah,
but in my opinion, the part of the story that interested me too was that supposedly this guy had like a $300 budget, supposedly, to make this, which I'm not buying. I think, this is my theory, I think Hollywood had something to do behind and like to hype it up.
Yeah, that's
because
interesting.
Because this is not done with $300. In Uruguay, no way.
You know what? Then I'm glad that I didn't buy the hype.
I mean, it looks great. Like, I'm not saying that the guy definitely knows what he's doing, but the way they're selling it is bullshit, in my opinion. Because look at this.
How is that a $300 budget?
Yeah, I'm
that
like,
doesn't
are you
make
kidding
sense.
me? I mean, I don't know how they did it.
You know what? That's interesting. I got to be honest, Jesus, I hadn't even thought of that.
And I think they're just building the buzz, building this guy up, and it's cool. I mean, it's working.
Yeah, it's definitely working because everybody wants to root for the guy. And maybe that if they set it up, then they did it in a brilliant way. Because who doesn't want to root for that guy except apparently Anna?
No, I'm not. You guys are so getting me wrong. It's not that I'm not rooting for it. It's just, yeah, I saw the video. It's amazing. Someone picked up on it, and now they want to give him a contract. They want to give him a deal. Most unsurprising thing. I guess I'm being Dave Kohler on this story.
I mean, look, I think if the kid was in Beverly Hills and his dad is Sean Penn or something, then okay, you're right. It's the most unsurprising story ever.
You know what?
It's a random kid with no connections,
I know.
That's the story that's being sold.
But it's YouTube.
If it's true.
But it's YouTube. YouTube links us all, okay? Where we're from becomes very unimportant and irrelevant when it comes to YouTube.
But then the story is amazing for the power of YouTube.
Right, exactly. Yeah, YouTube is powerful.
It levels the playing field, which is fantastic, which is part of the reason I love YouTube. So it's a great story either way. Don't listen to Anna.
I think the aspect maybe the aspect that Anna that she disagrees on at least is this isn't the normal avenue that people go about making a movie. Some people who know what they're doing and are have all these the capabilities and everything will pitch a movie over and over again, have this script writer, have this rewrite, and have this, and never get a movie made. It's nearly damn impossible if you're not already in the game, if your father isn't, whatever. So the fact that it went through YouTube, if it did, and now everybody's skeptical. The fact that it would is what makes it amazing, because that's not how it goes.
And you know what? And we talk about perspective and context all the time on the show, right? And that's the perfect example because in Anna's perspective, you live in a world where that's not that crazy. It's pretty normal. Like, since I'm insanely older than you, I live in a world where that seemed goddamn impossible. That a kid would make a little clip on his own in the middle of Uruguay, and then he gets a $30 million contract. When I grew up, that was unthinkable, unthinkable. And so the world has changed so much that, a lot of people like you, Anna, think, well, of course, So that's a great thing, man. It really is.